Tim, and welcome to WatchYouWant.com. Thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at arguably the best of a series of limited edition Tour Auto commemorative Royal Offshore models offered by Audemars Piguet from 2006 through the end of their sponsorship of the Tour Auto Rally in 2012. This is the 2008 1 of 100 Tour Auto Royal Oak Offshore Limited Edition. Now this watch was iconic because it took arguably the best color combo in luxury watchmaking: red, silver, black, and white, and it combined it with a gorgeous limited edition Tour Auto vintage leather themed, vintage driving glove themed, vintage steering wheel, vintage seat themed, calf skin, perforated leather, contrasting stitch strap. Again, as 1 of 100, this is about as good as a limited edition gets because everything about it combines the best of color, the best of art design, great oblique references to automotive themes without being explicit. There's no co-branding that's obvious on this. It's not in your face like Panerai for Ferrari, or even Gerard Perregaux Ferrari, or Blancpain Lamborghini. This is auto-themed, but again, at arm's length, you can't tell. Hold it right up to the camera. You can't tell. All you see is this handsome color combo, the gorgeous pairing of the red, white, silver, and black with the alternately brushed and polished facets of the classic 42mm Royal Oak Offshore case. This is the iconic shape that debuted in 1993 at Baselworld, and to this day it looks fresh. The combination of the audacious use of silicone on the pushers and crown of a luxury watch with this huge visible gasket. It's almost a Bauhaus aesthetic that evokes the machine within, but brings that machine outside, expresses it fully, and makes it part of the style, not just the substance of the watch. And what better way to celebrate the automotive lifestyle than with a machine that celebrates the fact that it is a machine. Now, Tour Auto is an annual event now in its, I believe, now in its 25th running in 2015. I think this will be the 25th running this year. Cars that ran the original Tour Auto Rally between 1951 and 1973 are eligible for the event, and we're talking the absolute pantheon of classic automobiles. We're talking 1950s Ferrari Pininfarina coupes. We're talking Aston Martin DB4 Vantage Zagatos. We're talking things like, the ATS 250, the greatest of the great, classic Maseratis, the Birdcage, you name it. If it would have been driven by guys with names like Salvadori, Shelby, and Moss, it's eligible for the rally. But entry is capped at 200, so even the well-heeled plutocrat driver / master of the universe is not assured of entry. So there's that exclusivity element, and that's mirrored in the 100-unit issuance from Audemars Piguet for 2008. Now, by 2008, AP had really hit its stride as sponsor of the Tour Auto and as a designer of auto-themed limited edition tributes to the event. Cars of that era tended to have a strong functional bent. Race cars could be driven on the road, and as a result, you didn't see, 4,000, 5,000-pound luxury barges posing as sports cars like you do today. Cars tended to be stripped down, built for the track, but usable on the street, like the Ferrari 250 GTO, the famed 100 horsepower per liter Le Mans racer of the early 60s. And that functional aesthetic is captured here. Again, it's the machine that doesn't hide itself, but rather expresses itself in plain sight, loud and proud. There's nothing excessive about this watch. Everything is measured. From the use of contrast, just enough color on the dial, on the subdial hands, and on the chronograph seconds hand, to the use of polish. Again, this is not Breitling for Bentley. This is auto theme done right. Just enough polish on the traditional octagonal Royal Oak Offshore bezel, a little bit of polish on the shoulders of the lugs and the shoulders of the case, and of course those polished Royal Oak and Royal Oak Offshore inset white gold bolts. There's a great deal of expression going on here, but very little of it is excessively flamboyant. It's discreet, but at the same time, it's bold. It's a great combination, and it's a lot like a vintage race car. It makes a huge statement, but more because it's just that cool than because it's trying to make an explicitly flamboyant extrovert statement. Race cars are cool, machines are cool, luxury watches are cool, and big blocks of steel designed in the image of vintage race cars in the classical style of the 1993 Royal Oak Offshore, they're just compelling. You don't have to add diamonds. You don't have to add gold. You don't have to make it bigger and bolder and louder. As is, you just play with the colors, you play with the forms and the finish, you play with the strap and the tailoring, and you let the classic form, the timeless form, the now, over 20-year-old living legend of the Royal Oak Offshore do the rest. This watch, the Tour Auto limited edition of 2008, is a tremendous piece, and again, if you're going to go with Royal Oak Offshore, you want the 42 because I feel it wears big no matter what your wrist size. It'll look modern and contemporary, but if like me you have a 6 1/3 inch wrist, 16 centimeters for our metric friends, this still wears nicely. Very comfortable. The leather strap is that much softer than the hornback alligator that's common to the Royal Oak Offshores. If you're familiar with that ridged alligator strap known as the hornback, that's been around since roughly 2007, you're going to actually find this to be quite a relief because it conforms more easily to the wrist, and the way it actually conforms at the plots, at the lug, you see those little 2 plot attachments, that can be kind of stiff on the rubber and the hornback alligator straps. This one can actually fit a smaller wrist because it's just that much softer and the material gives more when you buckle it. So this is a great fit, and again, with that combination of mostly black, silver, and white, it's actually pretty discreet for an offshore. Wearing with a lot of good taste. I would say that if you have a bigger wrist and you want to wear it black tie, you could. This watch has the color scheme to pull that off with just enough color in those hands to set it off. And it's actually a perfect match for my little Watch You Want polishing cloth here. So, outstanding taste, I must say. Well done, AP. The bottom line is that the AP Royal Oak Offshore Tour Auto 2008 edition, 1 of 100, is an outstanding edition. It's an outstanding addition to the pantheon of great Royal Oak Offshores. Whether you're into cars or not, you need know nothing about the Tour Auto, its history, its present, automobiles period, to appreciate this watch as the looker, the stunner that it is. And with an Audemars Piguet in-house movement, it's also part of the modern generation of the most finely engineered 60-hour ceramic rotor bearing, upscale caliber 3126 Royal Oak Offshores. That movement is still current to the present range, so you're getting the absolute latest in watchmaking technology as well as a timeless style. So the bottom line is that if you're into the Royal Oak Offshore and you want a limited edition that's the last word in elegance in the big sports watch sector, check out this Royal Oak Offshore Tour Auto limited edition with full boutique accessories, boxes, papers, manuals, the works on our website, watchyouwant.com.